When I was a child, I was a capital B, capital N, big nerd. I was bullied hard because I was a loudmouth chubster who wore hand-me-downs and didn't love to bathe or brush my hair. In this photo, I have forced my brother into doing a Vogue-style photo shoot, which my mom no doubt encouraged. We'll get to her enabling ass later. Anyway, all of these things made me serious fodder for bullying in grade school, which I cannot totally blame the other kids, but also fuck them forever. Despite these many shortcomings, I always had this feeling I could and should be a star. There's no explaining it. Don't even try. All I can say is kids are nuts in general, and I was a full psychopath. My ambitions were in the theatrical arts, which would be perfect because what I lacked in charisma, I made up for in having zero natural talent. I nevertheless persisted. Because not only was I gonna shine bright like a diamond that I knew that I was, but also because I wanted to give the middle finger back to everyone in middle school. Suck it, losers, / please like me, I desperately need at least one friend. Encouraged by being cast in the chorus of a for-profit children's musical theater when I was 8, I began a love affair with performing. I mean, I was cast out of all of those kids auditioning, so didn't I have the elusive it? I would later learn that no, in fact, I did not have it. Every kid who quote-unquote auditioned and whose parents also had $100 made the cut. Now, here are some roles I played. First up, a witch. Me and my fellow witches were all named after green things. There was emerald, ivy, fern. I was zucchini. That said, I have honestly never looked better, an icon. Then there's this sad, impoverished villager, poor thing. Please note how I signed this picture, as I thought it would be worth a lot of money one day. And finally, a chorus member named Harry Ishmaelite and Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. True story. I was a racist stereotype, which is obviously really bad now, but it was also really bad then. Why did nobody stop this? I mean, yikes. All that being said, these meager and questionable roles didn't stop me from believing in myself so hard. And I have to say that it's mainly because of my mom. My mom, bless her delusional heart, thought I could go all the way. All the way where? She did not know. But I knew, and she knew, that I had to try. Plus, this was a much-needed break from the torturous school, so hey, I was all in. When I was 10 and asked to take a class on auditioning for the camera, I asked to take a class on auditioning for the camera in downtown Alameda, AKA Little Hollywood, AKA very, very far from Hollywood. But the birthplace of peanut butter, give it up. Anyway, my mother happily obliged. She said, "Baby, I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. You are meant to be on camera." I beamed, knowing her words to be true. So the first day of auditioning for the camera, I rolled in ready to shine. So, acting classes for kids. They're basically glorified babysitting for kids with ADHD. The people who run them are master scam artists, like truly the original grifters, and we must respect and celebrate them. They have figured out a way to make $300 a head based on everyone's misguided notes that their kid is special. Most of these classes consisted of us standing in circles and playing zip, zap, zop. And then the teacher would take like a 45-minute smoke break, and us kids would stand around talking about our favorite audition monologues and whether we were more into the Stella Adler method or favored Lee Strasberg. These were my people. Finally fitting in felt so good, even if some of the people I fit in with sustained a classic mid-Atlantic accent for the entire class. Keep in mind, the Strasberg-Adler convo was a real one that I had with an 8-year-old who then proceeded to get on camera and nervously eat his boogers, until our exasperated teacher, whose name I cannot remember and neither can my mom, yelled cut, at which point he sat down and continued to eat his boogers off camera. This is true, I remember him well. He's actually pretty successful and works in LA now. His name is Peter Dinklage. Just kidding. He's just some dumb writer, who cares? At our final auditioning for the camera session, Miss Carey taped us and told us that she sent it to casting agents in Los Angeles. Looking back, I should have immediately known that this was bullshit. The teacher was a 6-year-old woman teaching bad improv to preteens. How did she have a slew of glamorous agent friends? So I should have been suspicious, but of course I was not. I went home and I waited for Hollywood to call. And here's the craziest part. Hollywood did call. Turns out Miss Carey had some connections, and one of them just so happened to be casting for Roseanne's sassy fat kid neighbor. And guess who was perfect for the role? This sassy fat kid. The execs had watched my tape and decided I deserved a callback. What? Okay, first off, I need to explain how big Roseanne was at the time. She was the queen of television. She was my everything. Of course, representation of fat people on TV is usually a joke and almost always terrible, but Roseanne was a fat woman who wasn't the butt of jokes. She was the maker of jokes. She was it, and this was huge. Let us not talk about what she is up to these days. So, I was flown to LA, first class, JK Southwest, and I was immediately taken to get headshots. Guys, taking headshots is so much fucking fun. I gave cute but approachable glam. Here I am giving pure sex. Here I am jauntily tipping the straw hat to camera while wearing gray sweatpants at the same time. What is this look? She doesn't know, and I still don't. That night, my agent took me and my mom to Spago's, and I got to see James Earl Jones eating a bowl of spaghetti. I wanted to take a picture very, very badly, but I didn't want to act weird around one of my colleagues, so I abstained. It's called restraint, look it up. To this day, seeing James Earl Jones eating a giant bowl of spaghetti is the singular highlight of my life. The next day, I was taken to the studios and asked to read for some bigwigs. I can tell you in all confidence that I fucking killed it. I read the hell out of those lines. I was both hilarious and touching, and I knew when I cocked my head and smiled, my crooked teeth and my double chin were winning over hearts and minds of these producers. I was having a blast, due in no small part to the fact that I was treated like the great talent that I knew myself to be. And also, there was free food everywhere. Hollywood was already great, but then I learned about craft services, and Hollywood went next level. I was supposed to be here eating free Gushers and hobnobbing with J.E.J., which is what I call James Earl Jones. For my final audition, I was taken to the soundstage where Roseanne was filmed. I mean, it's iconic, right? Don't you just have the shivers? It's here where I proceeded to lose my shit in a very real way. I got to see her living room, touch her couch, smell her ashtray, which smelled like cigarettes. My brain was short-circuiting. You have to understand, Roseanne was the hottest show on TV at the time, and I was in her living room. I, a tiny chub, was standing in the living room of the most successful chub in the world. I was in awe. The producers took me to the office off of the set and had me read one final time for the camera. I was told it was down to me and another girl, and Roseanne personally would be choosing. All of these thoughts were reeling around in my head as the camera's green light blinked in my face. I knew this was my moment, and I had to step up to the plate. And so what did I do? I fucking froze. It was too much. I was just some little freak from Alameda. I should be back on the island hoovering peanut butter into my mouth. I shouldn't be here one step from stardom. Maybe I didn't have the elusive it. I stared at the camera, recited the lines like a robot, and then asked to lay down, preferably near the snacks. We were immediately put back on a plane from Burbank to Oakland, and then, just as I had known my auditioning for the camera audition would be my ticket to Hollywood, that my actual audition would be my ticket out. A few days later, we got a call from the agent. Roseanne didn't want me. I was too green. The role ended up going to some other girl, and they dropped me immediately with the instruction to take more acting classes and maybe one day they could help me. I was distraught. A big part of me was doing this to rub it in the faces of the people who bullied me at school. Without that, what good was any of this? I was upset. I was inconsolable. And I had to go back to class as a loser normie who still had tangled hair and sometimes smelled like a public restroom. I am sorry, I am just being honest. Anyway, what was a girl to do? Well, the answer is I went back to school and lied through my face about being cast. Thank you, acting lessons. The kids were either very impressed, very skeptical, or very much did not give a shit. Either way, it was all good because I switched schools the next year, and by the time anything would air, I'd already be 2 counties away and a lifetime away, and I could just be the crazy girl who lied to all of Lincoln Middle School about getting cast in Roseanne. I'll take it. And now, guess what? I work in Hollywood, I get to write TV sometimes, I create the stories, and sometimes I even get involved in casting, and guess what? Guess who I cast? Those fat little weirdos from the middle of nowhere with nothing but big buck teeth and a dream. And as for Roseanne, many months later, the episode that I was supposed to be in aired, and my mom immediately changed the station with absolute disgust, saying, that girl just doesn't have it. That's my story. Thank you so much.